Hello and welcome to Power to the People with me, Graeme Pryce. Today was Keir Starmer's first PMQs as Prime Minister. I watched with interest, although I didn't watch it on the television. I watched it on the Politics Social YouTube channel with Graham Hughes, who did a web watch. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I've thought about it as the days gone on, and I've thought rather than sit and write a huge monologue about it, I'll just give you my quick opinion on it. Make a short video on it, but I have got other things in the works coming up. I'll let you know how I felt about PMQs, what I thought was a very strange PMQs after this. I was just looking at my channel analytics and I noticed that 53% of people who watch my videos weren't subscribed. The pain. Come on, just have a quick check that you've subbed, liked and rang the bell. Make a skinny old scouser a little bit happier today. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I don't think I got anything like what I might have been expecting. Rishi Sunak was, he was nice. I mean, what's going on there? Call me cynical, but I don't think it's really for a good reason. His questions they were really soft questions. Really, he didn't ask anything particularly too pressing. And even the people around him didn't seem quite so full of vitriol as they usually are, quite so angry and shouty. I don't think it was for the good though. I think there's an ulterior motive to it. I think what Rishi Sunak's doing is he's trying to portray the Conservatives in the run up to the leadership now, and when they finally get a new leader, he's trying to portray them as centrist and friendly and not far-right, homophobic, racist monsters like Braverman and Badenoch. And, you know, they're sitting at the back up there watching him be smarmy and nice to Keir Starmer. And they're you know, watching him take away what they want to use as their lever for power. I think that's what it's all about, really. But it's hard to really comment on any of the questions that Sunak asked, because he was really softballing it all the way through. I almost thought that he'd come in smarmy and arrogant. You know, I mean, you've got to remember, this is the guy who was, Labour will cost you £2,000 a year in tax, when he knew he was lying. He said that for weeks and weeks on end, knowing that he was lying and he'd been told he shouldn't say it. You know, so let's not forgive him too much. There was a few other questions from one of the Greens. That wasn't a great question, really. I can understand people that, you know, wanted to vote Green, but they don't seem to be very well representing themselves lately. I understand that, you know, they've got to have green ideas. They don't want, you know, too much building going on green belts and things. But the definition of green belts is very loose, and they seem to be, to me, I think the Greens seem to be carrying on a little bit of the NIMBYism that we thought would go away after the Tories had gone. Stephen Fletcher said, you know, I thought his question was fair. I thought he put it well, and he wasn't overly aggressive. I thought the whole mood of the whole thing seemed quite jovial, and after 14 years of it being an angry opposition, watching smarmy, arrogant, incompetent people ruin the country, on, you know, and watching them argue over that every Wednesday, to see a bowed Conservative Party that were and a huge Labour Party that are going to be capable of doing so much. I think the whole dynamic has changed. I don't know what we can expect from PMQs in future. I don't think it's going to be anything like as adversarial as it's been in the past. I don't think it's going to be a slinging match until we find out who the new leader is. If it's Badenoch, then it will be, because she's a monster. And there's a few others as well that are in the running. I mean, I don't think Braverman will win, but she's in the running, she might. You never know. I mean, who'd have ever thought we'd end up with Liz Truss being Prime Minister? But it happened. One time, many, many years ago, I said, this man thinks he'll be Prime Minister. That'll never happen. Let me words on that one, didn't I? And with that, I suppose I can say, well, There wasn't anything else that stood out. It seemed odd. There was loads of Labour MPs that got to ask questions, and I felt a little bit of a hypocrite because I always used to say during PMQs when the Tories were in, why are all the Tory MPs being allowed to ask questions? You know, he's their Prime Minister, they can ask him questions whenever. And yet I didn't feel like that when I saw the Labour ones asking questions, so I suppose that's a bit of bias on my part. But I think the questions they asked seemed more reasonable. It wasn't the likes of Christopher Chope with his bright red face getting up, or Michael Fabricant getting up to say, does the Prime Minister think cancer is bad? Or something like that, you know. They were asking more questions. I was glad to see that there was a Labour MP that stood up and challenged him on the trans issue. And I was glad to see that the two-child policy for benefits was brought up as well. Because I don't agree with that, and I don't think Starmer's right on that. I think he should find a way to end that. Yeah, I do. And it was Stephen Flynn as well that first brought that up. And there's also been a little rebellion about that. But I was pleased to see... I saw something on the BBC, and they were trying to say that it was going to be 29 Labour MPs were going to vote against it. It turned out to be 7. Yeah. I think it was Laura Kunsberg that was presenting the thing saying there was 29 Labour MPs going to vote against it. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far. I didn't want to make a huge scripted video today with, you know, loads of reading involved. I just wanted to get my opinion out because I thought it was a PMQs unlike anything we've seen for a very, very long time, wasn't it? Definitely. Anyway, links to PayPal, Patreon, buy me a coffee and everything in the descriptions box as usual. But, you know, always the best thing you can do is make sure that you're subscribed and you've rang the bell and maybe hit the like button before you bugger off. That's not all I've got to say, but it's as much of what I've got to say as I'm going to say today. Ta-ra-la. I don't want to criticise you in your senior years, Anne, but you're not very dynamic anymore, are you? You wouldn't catch the littlest hobo just lying around like that. You wouldn't set a very good example for Lassie, would you?